Hello and welcome to the Embodied Self podcast. Welcome to my little corner of the universe where I get to share stories, tools, and practices, and so much more with you, with the intention of supporting your expansion, your growth, your journey of becoming who you truly are. And even as I say that, I'm reminded of a book that I was reading yesterday. It's called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And she says that we shouldn't create something for other people. We shouldn't create something with the intention of helping people or anything like that. We should create something because it will help us. And though there still is a desire within me to share all these things that I've learned and all these people that I've met who have just incredible stories who have impacted my life, I want to share that with as many people as possible. It's true that this podcast is definitely for me above all else. It has been a journey to get here to this place where I am comfortable enough sharing my voice and my thoughts, my beliefs, my practices with the world. And so it wasn't a matter for me of, if I was going to do the podcast or not. For the last 5 years or so, it's been, when is this going to happen already? And I'll probably share more on that in another episode, but anything that is lighting you up, anything that you can't stop thinking about, anything that you really, really desire, you're meant to be doing. And honoring those desires within you is really part of embodying who you truly are. And I want to share what I mean by that, who you truly are. Because you might be thinking, I am me. That is who I am. What do you mean? And I'd love to just start this by asking you some questions. And when I do, I encourage you to view your answers or whatever comes up for you from a place of compassion for yourselves. You can just take my word for it if this concept is new to you, but you have a good reason for acting the way you do, doing the things you do, and we will absolutely get into greater detail about that in this podcast, not this episode, but in general. But for now, I invite you to just get curious, and maybe even you want to close your eyes and feel into these questions. Maybe you want to actually write down these answers. So if you want to jot them down in a journal, pause this episode, grab that, but be sure to come back. All right, so here are the questions I invite you to get curious around. 1, have you ever felt the need to hide aspects of yourself? 2, have you ever wanted to say something but didn't? Maybe this was telling a friend, family member, significant other how you really feel. 3, have you ever had a desire to do something, desire that maybe won't go away, yet you keep it to yourself and kind of put it on the back burner or push it down? 4, what is your relationship to your emotions like? Do you allow them to flow freely, or do you try to keep the uncomfortable feelings like anxiety, sadness, boredom, etc. away? Do you judge your emotions when they come up? 5, have you ever wanted to say no to something but said yes? And 6, are there things that you really love doing that you don't do? Maybe that's singing, playing music, spending time with animals, writing. Are there things that you really love doing that you don't do? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then it's likely that you are not fully embodying your true self. And in a moment, I will define what embodiment means. But I want to preface by saying that it is a way of being. It's not a destination. And there are few people who walk this earth, if any, who are really fully embodying their truth at all. So this is nothing to be, embarrassed about or sad or ashamed of. It just simply is. And the best part is that it is such a great opportunity, if not our greatest opportunity in life, to continue to inch our way closer and closer to what our truth is. And why is that? Because it doesn't feel so great to swallow your words and hold things in and pretend to be something you're not, right? These things that we enjoy and what feels true for us, they feel good for a reason. I spent a lot of my own life hiding behind masks, being a chameleon in every social situation, family situation, just to fit in and to be liked. And I remember I was once told by an old friend of mine that I wore so many hats. He noticed. And it's true, I did. And I do. But it got to be exhausting showing up as someone different depending on where I was and who I was with. And I could say this to this group, but I wouldn't dare to say it to this group. And at some point, I was done. I made a declaration to myself that I was going to blend these hats together. I was going to wear one big, badass, colorful hat that encapsulated all of me, and not just some of me, all of me. Because what I realized was that being seen, truly being seen for who I am, is so important to me. More important than being seen by a majority of people for what I'm not or who I am not. It's a need that comes deep from my soul. And I really, really do not feel great when I don't feel truly seen. And if you're part of this community and if you were drawn to this podcast for some reason, being seen for who you truly are is probably really important to you too. And maybe you're not even consciously aware of it right now, but if something feels off, and if you feel like life is meant to feel differently, if you feel like there's a truer version of you that you have yet to fully step into and embrace, I invite you to reflect on those questions again. And I will write them down and share them in the show notes, so you can find them there if you want to journal and reflect. Because this is where it all begins, my friends. This is where it all begins. The path to becoming who you truly are. The ongoing path. This is ever evolving. These desires you have exist within you for a reason. They are not coincidental. And if you live your life with this mindset that the desires that are planted within you are planted there for a reason, then maybe you'll begin to work through whatever it is that's keeping you from doing the thing, or saying the thing, or making the leap, or starting the thing, whatever it is for you. That whole process of unlearning, of deconstructing, unraveling, exploring, this is often what's called the work. And I'm making some air quotes because I feel like that term is everywhere. How to do the work. What's the work? And this is what we're talking about. To share a concept with you that I personally believe in, and even sharing this brings up a little bit of like a pause in me, like a little yield sign comes up, because There was a time where I wouldn't dare to share these thoughts with even my best friend because I thought that people would think I was crazy. And some people do, and that's okay. But this concept that I want to share, because I think this perspective, it opened up just so much for me, and it changed the way I approach how I live, and I think that it could be really supportive for others. And with anything that I share in this show, know that you don't have to take on the beliefs that I share or believe in. You will know, and this is a great practice in embodiment, listen to your own body and what happens in your body when you hear some of these words. Maybe it will feel really good and like comforting. And maybe it'll feel like a remembrance, like, I feel like I've learned this before. Like I know this, even though I didn't consciously know I did. And maybe you'll have a visceral reaction that just rejects what I'm saying. And all that gets to be here. Like that is all perfectly okay and beautiful. Welcome it all, and I just encourage you to observe, be an observer to your experience, So this concept, it was actually shared pretty clearly in the kids movie, the Pixar movie Soul, which I am just still amazed and grateful that I live in a time where a Disney Pixar movie captures such an expansive idea about our souls and the journey that our souls take and bodies and what that even means. But I believe that we're all born with our souls that come from the same source. Maybe you call this God or spirit or energy or the universe or Yahweh or something else, Hashem, whatever it is, whatever is true for you. Throughout this entire podcast, because this theme might come up again, just allow whatever feels true for you to be inserted when I say whatever I do, and know that we're likely talking about the same thing, and let's just focus on the meaning rather than the word itself, if that feels good for you. So I believe that before we're born, we actually decide what it is we're meant to experience in this lifetime, what families we'll be born into, where we'll live, the gifts that we'll have. We create scenarios through which we can grow and evolve and learn the lessons that we're meant to in order to grow and ascend, so to speak. And I'm not going to go so deep today because I have a feeling this will be a future episode. But when you consider this concept, then you can believe that there's a reason why all of your desires exist within you. There's a reason why you want to rap or sing. There's a reason why you're attracted to, maybe one gender or the other. There's a reason why you want to dye your hair purple and dance on Broadway. Whatever is true for you, there's a reason for it. And what I know to be true is that I see it taking people so long to honor their truest expression of self because they haven't been taught to decipher between what is real and what is not real. What is their truth and what is fear? And an easy way to tell this, if you ever are facing something, is are you thinking of something or making a decision or hiding parts of yourself from a place of fear or love? And when you learn to decipher between that within yourself and you start to honor who you truly are, you'll be met with more opportunities of expansion and people who will come into your life that'll help you grow and help you move forward on your journey. Like I said before, there was a time where I was afraid to share these ideas. I still feel that sometimes. But the more that I started sharing, the more I found people who believed in similar things that I did or were open-minded to hearing different perspectives than their own. I found more community, soul people. I felt less alone. And I was propelled into further exploration and growth and expression. And I felt safer and safer and safer to be myself. And that is truly what I hope this podcast can create for you. Even though I get to be unattached from the outcome and maybe no one will listen. That's a lie. I know at least one person will listen because I know my mom will listen. But maybe she's the only one, and that's okay because it did something for me. But my hope is that this podcast creates a space for you to explore your curiosities and your ideas, the ones that you're afraid to say out loud, the ones that you're even afraid to write in your journals. My hope and intention is that this is a space for you to feel seen and understood, a place for you to peel back the layers of your own self and using tools and practices that we'll share here to begin or continue to do your own inner work and figure out who you truly are and what you believe in, what your values are, and build up the confidence to show up as that version. The mission or the intention of the Embodied Self podcast is to empower and to inspire, and at the very, very least, help you feel less alone. And excited, excited about the idea of stepping into your truest expression in every moment. This is a lifelong journey, and I promise you it feels, I won't say it only feels good, because this process is not only rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. It can be difficult and dark and scary sometimes. But again, if you're part of this community and if you were drawn here, I have a feeling, or I just know that you do have that pull and that desire within you to experience truth, to seek truth, and to experience authentic expression in everything that you do. This is not a one and done situation. This isn't a destination that you achieve. You don't achieve embodiment and then you're good to go. No, it's not that easy. We are always in the process of becoming who we truly are. So now let's move into what embodiment means, because I keep saying embodying who you truly are, and I think understanding the word embodiment, at least for me and how I define it, is going to be supportive here. So the word embodiment, I believe, is the ongoing process or practice, rather, of being in connection with and honoring your body. Your body is an incredible, magnificent, wonderful machine. I mean, I don't need to tell you that, but have you really thought about this? Like we feel and we think and we breathe and we dream and we have memories and thoughts and we make other human beings. I mean, it's amazing. And our bodies hold so much wisdom, more than we even know, and more than we're really taught in schools and growing up. And it's no one's fault necessarily, but there's just such room for improvement and like major growth, okay? And that's another intention of this podcast, is to invite people back into connection with their bodies. And I say back into because you were so connected to your body when you were born and when you were young. When you felt hungry, you said it. Full, you were done eating. You cried when you needed something. You threw tantrums. You got your anger out. You did not give a crap what people thought about you. You just honored your body's messages, and it was as simple as that. And then as you got older, you took in messages from the world about how you should and shouldn't be. And there were like layers. There were layers packed on, right? It's like at your core is this truth in you, and then it's layers and layers and layers that get caked on. And the reality today is that so many of us are disconnected from our bodies. We've gotten so used to either ignoring, dishonoring our body's messages, or maybe we're so far away from it that we don't even know how to listen. And again, you can look at how you answered the questions I shared above, but this will kind of show you like where is it that you're needing support, right? Are you someone who numbs with food or alcohol or Netflix to the point where you're just kind of like going through the motions of life and you don't even know what you want anymore. Right? These are all things to get curious about. But our bodies are designed to move us through this human experience, this thing we call life, in a way that feels really true. So your body's wisdom, and I do believe that there's like body-soul connection, but I won't go into that today. But your bodies have wisdom. It is our minds, our reptilian brains that were wired for survival and staying alive that get in the way of us living our truth and being truly embodied. Our minds, because they're wired for survival, are like hyper sensitive. So hypersensitive that they perceive things that aren't really threats as big threats. And we get so fearful of what our minds, reptilian, lower brain, whatever we want to call it, thinks is like possibility for death. But really it's like, oh no, I meant to text that person and then I accidentally texted that person and now I feel like I'm going to die. Like that kind of is it's a real example. It's happened to me many a times. Maybe I'll share that story sometime. But it's an example of how something that seems so silly can actually create a perceived sense of danger and death in our systems. And here's the thing about bodies. This is where it gets really interesting. And I'm so excited to share more about this on the show. Our memories, our experiences, our beliefs, our traumas, that is all stored within our bodies. Our bodies don't forget. Our bodies store everything. It's just what we're consciously aware of that differs. And so I'm not going to get into details about all this in this episode because that concept alone, these concepts I just shared, they're enough for entire episodes in themselves. But get excited because truly some of these will, I hope, open your minds up to the fact that there is just so much that gets to happen, deep trust, gratitude, inner peace that happens just from even understanding some of these concepts. So back to defining embodiment. Embodiment is really to cultivate a deep understanding of and trust in the messages that you're receiving from your body. It's learning to hear and honor your intuition. It's learning to know your body's hunger cues and fullness cues. And it's allowing and accepting all emotions and feelings and sensations that want to show themselves and move through you to do just that. It's allowing. The opposite of embodiment is suppression. It's being disconnected from your body. It's hiding who you truly are. It's not saying what wants to be said out of fear for something. A lot of this, what it comes down to when we don't honor our body's wisdom, comes from a place of fear. And the growth comes in returning back to making decisions and acting from a place of love. And so embodiment is really so much more than that. And rather than just tell you a definition, right, my intention is to show you and to help you experience it yourself. So through storytelling, my own, as well as the guests that I'll have on the show, who, by the way, aren't going to be, all the experts in the wellness or spiritual wellness space. No, there are so many podcasts that are like that, and I love them all, and I've learned so much from them. But I am really excited to share real stories from real humans just like you and me, real stories of real humans who are just doing their own inner work and working to live life in alignment with their truest selves every single day. That is the goal here. And through practices and tools as well, my hope is that you learn something or take something away from every episode that is going to support you on your own journey, which is unfolding in perfect timing for you. So if you made it to this episode today, and if you made it this far, I know that you are in the process of becoming who you truly are and embodying your truth, and I thank you. I thank you for doing this work, and I thank you for taking time to listen and be present with these messages and ideas, to be open to the possibility that your life can look and feel different than you've experienced it today if you want it to, and know that what I'm sharing, it might not land today, it might not land tomorrow, maybe it will never land, but I find that some of these concepts, the more they come into your awareness, the more you just start understanding and feeling into them. And I just have a feeling that you'll start to see some shifts in your realities, in your lives. And with that, I am going to conclude. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you so much for being here. If something in this episode sparked something in you or moved you, or maybe you have a question about it, feel free to share that with me. DM me on Instagram at AshleyDawnPearl. All that information is in the show notes. If you have an idea or something that you want to hear on this show, if you want to be on this show, or maybe there's someone you'd love to hear their story, send me all the info. Everything you need will be in the show notes. I am so excited to continue this journey with you, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your morning, day, evening. See you next time.